your number one tackle gets a tier all by himself.
I'm giving him by himself here.
All by himself.
Yep.
And I think the best part is he has played left tackle in college, but his final year in college, he played right tackle.
Right.
And he's your number one guy,
Yes.
and that is.
Yes, it is Darnell Wright from Tennessee. Right. I'm interested to hear what you have to say about him here too. But one, I'm again, anybody that knows me, I'm a little bit of a lover of the big guy at this position. I love, this is like, length is not super long as compared to what we've seen some tackles and the elite tackles in football have, but the feet are good and they're not greasy good, but it's the power and strength that I'm a believer in. That's what I love. There's two things that I love about Darnell Wright. You're not going to win the power rush against him. Speed to power.
Can't get through him.
You're not going to get through him. Even when one of the last lines I wrote about the guy, even when he loses, he wins. Right? And what I mean by that is every now and then somebody will get the edge on him and you go, oh, Mo, he's going to let somebody up. And he somehow gets him to the ground or has some quick move that gets him out of trouble or whatever. But I loved his anchor. Okay. And then I loved, out of all the tackles, I think he was the best at just overpowering people in the run game and digging people out. Like, oh, you're in front of me. I'm going to dig you out, mano-y-mano here, and I'm going to move you backwards. So that's where I like Darnell Wright, and that's why he's my number one tackle.
So, Simms, what stood out with me for him is I don't think anybody is more battle-tested because he's got tape against Will Anderson.
Yes, he does.
And he's got tape against Brian Brzee.
Right.
And I thought he came out on top in both those battles.
In both of them, definitely.
In both those battles. A couple reps against Brzee where he put him in the ground.
Dominated him.
Absolutely dominated him. I just wrote, he's a hulking right tackle. I do think he's a right tackle at the next level.
Yeah.
Do you? I don't think he's flipping back to left.
Well, I think he could do it.
Sure.
I don't have an issue either way here with him, And again, I think I'm going a little bit, and I've been in the camp of like left tackle, right tackle. I think we're getting to the point where the only difference is it's a blind side for the quarterback. It's Von Miller lines up on both sides. It doesn't matter anymore, right? So I definitely think he can make left tackle, but from, our traditional thoughts of right tackle and what that's supposed to be, he fits that mold more than your traditional left tackle.
I think the most important thing with him, and we've seen a good trajectory, he was heavier during the season, his weight. He got it down for the Senior Bowl in the 340s. He comes in the Combine in the 330s.
Yes.
That's the right trajectory. This is not a guy I think you want, just because endurance reasons. There was a couple games I watched where early on, just devouring people. And I don't think it's lack of care or focus. I think he was just tired in some games because he's carrying
a big body.
350 to 360 pounds.
Sure.
So he got that weight down for the draft process. If he goes into training camp with that weight down, I'm with you that the ceiling is really, really high. He just has to dial in that conditioning focus.
Yeah, I get that. And I think that'll help, too, with some of the things that, a little bit better quick feet and things like that. That's where the weight will come in handy. But again, like I said, I learned a little bit with the Orlando Brown Jr. I'm missing somebody else. Tristan Wirfs.
Sure.
Right? He was another one where I was like, I don't know. His feet bother me. I think they're a little too slow for tackle in the NFL.
A lot of people thought that. People thought he'd play guard.
I know, and I was one of those. But it's him, and I'm missing somebody else in that conversation too, where I've gone and corrected my thinking to go, it's not right. The feet are quick enough that nobody is totally a mismatch there. It's not perfect to what you want, but it's the other things that go along with it that save them in that area. And also, those are really important areas as well as far as, dominating the run game or not getting run over by, a 290-pound defensive end.
A big tackle, and I'm not comparing them at all, but I'm trying to think of who you were going with. The big tackle that comes to mind that doesn't have elite length or maybe elite feet in terms of just testing would be Penei Sewell. He'd be another guy.
Right.
So, and it's just, he's great. It doesn't matter.
Yes, right. Probably not as good an athlete as Penei Sewell was that way, But
the build is kind of the same.
It's similar. It is similar. This guy maybe has a little more in the midsection, like you were talking about, and that's probably the weight he could lose there. But it is similar to that. I don't think he is in the top 5 conversation, and I think that's what's different about this class overall. where last year we had these guys that were like, oh, these are definite top
Blue
5,
chip.
top 10, right? I feel like the O-line conversation is going to start towards the end of the top 10, if not, past 10, and then we're going to start to see them go off the board.
Here's a weird one for you.
Yeah.
9-inch hands.
It is weird.
That is the first percentile, and for those at home wondering what that means basically there's nobody playing tackle in the NFL with hands this small.
I don't even know what to make of it.
I'm
not going to lie. Like when I looked at all these guys and saw that there was a few of these big guys, not maybe 9, but I was like, holy crap, like this guy's a big guy and my hand's like what dwarf is. Like it's not even close. So that's where it was a little shocking.
Does it matter?
I don't know if it does. I can't say that I've really even ever had these conversations with. I would think it has to matter to a degree. I would want somebody with big hands a little bit for the hand fighting and the ability to control people. I would think that helps out. But is it a deal breaker or an end-all, be-all? No. But I can't say that I have a lot of, experience in that conversation there.
All right, so let's get into tier 2.
Yeah.
Because, Wright's in a tier of his own, and you think he could play left tackle if he needs to.
I look at Wright, and I just go 9 to the Bears. I could definitely see happening.
That wouldn't shock me.
No.
And you could argue that Braxton Jones is fine on the left side for them, and they'll plug Wright in on the right
tackle.
And they feel better
sense.
about that.
I didn't even really think of that. See, I'm not in mock draft mode yet, so I haven't even thought of stuff like that yet. Well, it starts next week for me.
Yeah.
Well, you're going to figure this out.
I'm jealous you do about 2 weeks of it.
So I haven't even thought about that. You're right. He did a good job at left tackle last year.
So maybe that's their plan of action.
The right spot. Yeah. Yo, thanks for watching, homies. It's the off season, but there's no off season for us here at Unbuttoned. Me, Ahmed Fareed, we're going to hit all the stories. So hit subscribe for us, okay? We got a ton coming up. My draft prospect rankings, my Simms top 40 quarterback countdown, and videos of me and NFL QBs playing catch and talking about their development and mechanics. Again, thanks for watching. Remember to subscribe. Peace out, homies. See you soon.